up in a cast and set the hook on smallmouth bass, and then you'll understand. You gotta get your hands on a Shimano reel and a G-Loomis round. I bet you like what you feel. Step on the deck, give it a whirl. Hello, welcome to my world.
What's going on Facebook and YouTube Live? Also live out on TikTok land for the first time ever, which is pretty new and exciting for me. Anyway, we're gonna be joined today with one of my buddies that I've met through the show and met through Lure Lock and a few things. We have Glenn Walker on the show a little bit later. We're gonna talk about some hummingbird stuff, talk about spring bass fishing. We're also gonna talk about some new things he's got on his boat and a few other things. I am going to announce the winners of my Drive to 4,000 subscribers giveaway over the past 2 weeks. We have 6 different winners, and I will be letting you guys know by the end of the show where that is and who that is. And if you're not local to me, I will be shipping those things out on my dime. And there's one person that won from looks like Tennessee, Montana, Kentucky, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. So we spread the love all over the place, which is pretty cool. So without further ado, we're going to bring Glenn on again. We're going to talk about a few things as far as lure lock. We're going to talk about how to properly clean a lure lock box, which is a big thing on my channel. Everybody wants to know, do they collect trash? Do they collect all this other stuff? How to clean them? We'll talk about that. But without further ado, I'm going to bring Glenn on and let him give me a spiel. Most of you guys have seen him on the show before, but just those of you guys who haven't, I'd like to introduce Mr. Glenn Walker. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Not too bad, man. Living a dream. Like I said, white picket fence and all. First and foremost, guys, want to remind you guys that this episode is brought to you by Lure Lock. Get locked down at lurelock.com. Check it out. Anything there. Again, you guys heard me talk about last week. One of my favorite products that they have out right now is the roll up, which is really cool. And also my favorite box, and I talked to Glenn about it there a few weeks ago. My favorite box that they make is the thin box. It's just an absolute perfect size, man. I just love it. You're not going to be able to put really big crankbaits or anything in it, but for like a 1.5 box or a shallow diving crankbait or something like that, dude, it is phenomenal.
Yep, yeah, that thin box is what I like to use it for is jigs. So for flipping jigs or swim jigs, what I'll do is I'll take one of them and have one be dark, like blue, green pumpkin, black blue jigs. Or sorry about that. Like one will be like black blue colored jigs, blacks, purples, and then the other one will be more naturals, my greens, my browns. And then that way, when you put those two thin ones together, it's about the same depth as a normal LL1 box, but they're half the size, so you can kind of organize your tackle a little bit more thoroughly. So when you're on the water and you need to find something quick, you can grab it. And like my swim jigs, I have one that's a white shad colored swim jig box, and then the other one's a black blue bluegill colored box again, so you can really dial it down. And if you know you're not going to be needing a certain color, you pull that box out and leave it, and you don't have to worry about it then. So yeah, that thin box is I think really underutilized by a lot of anglers out there.
Yeah. So I think do you run Lure Lock's social stuff?
Nope. Different person does that.
All right. So they they're liking a lot of my stuff on my social media and stuff, which I think is awesome. But there was somebody that asked me, and I'll ask you your expert opinion, and I'll give you my answer to them. They asked about the roll up. Could you use it for soft swim baits? And my advice was that you could. They asked their specific question was, how good is it for swim baits? And my advice was that hard swim baits, you're not going to find a better storage solution than that. And even for soft swim baits, as long as you're careful taking it off the TackLogic, it should be fine, correct?
Agreed. Yep. Yeah. As long as you're careful taking it off the TackLogic gel. Also with, swim baits, you want to make sure that tail or, any of the fins on it don't get bent. That would be storing it in any style box. But if you're putting it on that gel, you definitely want to lay it flat, have it so it's not kinked or anything, because if it does get kinked when you're laying it down on the gel, it'll stay kinked, and then you'll have to do some surgery on that bait to get it to run right. So, but yeah, if you just lay the bait straight and take your time pulling it off the gel, shouldn't be any issue with it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Mark asked if I even fish. Man, I tell you what, I'm getting to the point where I don't know if I do or not. I don't know that I fish. I like to say that I go out catching, but that doesn't happen all the time. Congrats on cashing a check down there, Mark, at down at Del Hollow. Misty's upstairs watching. How you doing? Jeff Wallace, what's up, buddy? Chris Morrow, what's up, man? Thanks for joining us. I have a feeling you're going to want to stick around here in a little while. If not, check back. If you can't stay the whole show, check back towards the end. I got something for you, buddy. But anyway, so again, we talked about the thin box. One thing that I want to talk to you about is, have you guys changed the formulation of the actual plastic on the boxes? Because the older stuff that I have of your guys is from the first year that we were partners. The plastic looks different. Like the newer stuff looks way, way nicer. Like I love the way it looks. It's like a lot more clear.
Yep, you nailed it. I think it was about a year and a half ago that that we switched some stuff up in the actual makeup of the boxes themselves, and what that had delivered was a box that are much clearer, so you can see. I mean, it's, I hate to sound corny, but crystal clear. You can see through those boxes. You can see exactly what's in there. The old boxes kind of had a clear haze to them, so you could still see through them, but it was more of a haze to it. So yeah, the new very observant to that. But yeah, the new boxes are very clear. You can see right through them, and again, it's a pure polypropylene. So our boxes are probably the most sturdy boxes out there. If you have the dividers in those boxes, you can stand on them. They're not going to break or crack. The latches, everything's solid construction. So you don't have to worry about, running down the lake and then getting a box cracked and having stuff spill all over your tackle compartment.
Yeah, I think that's a big deal. Not only do you have to, I think the construction of them are second to none, obviously. But I think the really cool thing, like you're saying, is one, you don't have to worry about your baits getting beat up in the boxes because the Tack Logic is going to keep them in place. But also having that really rigid design, especially the latches on the boxes, as you mentioned a second ago, they're super sturdy, man. Like when you very first get the box, it's like an act of Congress to get the thing open because they're so legit.
No, it is, yeah, and especially on some of the some of the deep boxes, when those latches are down on those deep boxes, you have to use your full body to get them open that first time or two. But after that, then they're solid, and you can get them open just with normal force. But that just shows that the construction of them is top notch.
Yep, I get that. So we are now, obviously, we're a little farther along than you are as far as spring fishing out there in Minnesota. That's exactly where you're from, right? Minnesota?
Yep.
Out that way?
Yep.
Yeah,
suburb of the Twin Cities. Yep.
Gotcha. So again, we're a couple weeks ahead of you. It doesn't get cold enough here to have hard water. Like we don't have ice season. Like if it gets cold enough to have ice on our lakes, it's like for a day. It's not.
Yeah.
It doesn't get thick enough to fish on. So that's one thing that hurts my channel a lot because probably from December on till at least early March is pretty much it's miserable to fish here because there's no ice and nowhere to get out of it. But we're getting into this season where we're going to be fishing some spring style baits. What's some of your go-to baits for spring style fishing? For largemouth.
Sure. Yeah. So for us here in Minnesota, the first thing we'll be able to do is fish the Mississippi River. So the border water between Minnesota and Wisconsin. The bass season does not close. Right now in Minnesota, you cannot legally fish for game fish, so bass, walleye, pike, until the Saturday of Mother's Day weekend. And that's when walleye and pike open up fully. Bass opens up for catch and release until Memorial Day weekend. So really, and I've always grown up fishing the river, so it's kind of just, I've always grown up doing that. So fishing the river, right out of the gate here in April, maybe hopefully here at the end of March, if we can get more open water, we'll be, spinnerbait, big, like a 3/8 or a 1/2 ounce single Colorado chartreuse white spinnerbait. You can just slow roll it over kind of any of the dead vegetation down there. Along deeper banks that have like a laydowns or stumps on them. They'll be, pre-spawn or kind of still in their wintering holes along some of those deeper holes, or on those warmer days that they're starting to move up to areas kind of in their pre-spawn phase. So yeah, spinnerbait, obviously a lipless crankbait. I mean, I don't care where you're at in the country, a lipless crankbait is going to catch bass. So, traditional crawfish colored, like a booyah. One knocker is one of my favorites, or their hard knocker. One of those two in like a craw color, real great bait, or like a bluegill colored or perch. And then a jig. I mean, I a lot of times in the spring, flipping a 1/2 ounce all-terrain tackle AT jig with a big zoom chunk on it, just working it real slow. You can, flip it shallow on those warmer days when that water surface temp is getting up there, and some of those largemouth will start getting squirrely, up shallow, cruising around. You can flip it to, lay down stumps, dead reeds. But then if it's a little cooler or those fish are a little bit more inactive, you can, slowly work that jig down a cut bank or down a little bit steeper wooded bank and work it real slow. So those would probably be my three. In certain situations, if you're targeting smallmouth or some areas for largemouth, get out like a jerk bait on some of the points or deeper holes where those fish still are, more wintering phase. So I'm just looking forward to getting out here. I got the new boat in the water today for the first time, and got probably halfway through the first portion of the break-in process on the new Pro XS Mercury motor. So at least that kind of agonizing part is done. You want to fish, and it was beautiful today. It was almost 70 degrees and sunny. So water temp was about 40 degrees. So it was, we did a lot of driving and just kind of put the hours on the motor and made sure, the Humminbird graphs were all synced up and settings were right, and just did just a bunch of housekeeping stuff in the boat. So when it does get nice here, for good here in the next couple of weeks, we can just go fishing and not have to worry about that stuff.
Yeah, those of you guys that we're talking about Glenn's new boat, obviously it has the 4-stroke Mercury on it, which, I was the first time I got to actually drive one. My best friend Kyle, who I fish with all the time, he has a 2020 Nitro Z21 with the 250 Pro XS on it, and dude, like, people don't understand the raw horsepower that those things have. Like, you step on the hot foot and they freaking go, which you probably have had limited time to do in the break-in process, but let's talk about a 15-inch Solix on the front. I mean, let's talk about that for a second.
So last year I ran a Solix 15 up on the bow. This year I went to all helixes. So I got dual Helix 12s at the console, and then Helix 15 at the bow. And these new Gen 4s helixes, the clarity and just picture on them is unbelievable. Like today, just without really having even monkeyed with the settings much, just kind of did a few kind of things that I normally do. Just the picture, just seeing on the bottom, seeing fish, just looking at the breaks on just on 2D, pulled up, down imaging when we were kind of just making a few casts on some current seams, and you could see down there, you could see on down imaging and side imaging, you could see schools of rough fish just off in the distance. It's incredible. And what I really like, a lot of people, have asked me, with Mega 360 up on the bow, and eventually here soon, Mega Live, people are like, well, why didn't you go with 2 units up on the bow? And being a predominantly shallow water angler, fishing the river, and even when we're here fishing Minnetonka, it's a lot of flipping. You're flipping milfoil, you're flipping coontail, you're flipping boat docks. And for me, I'd like to have a clean area up in the front. So I opted to just, for right now at least, run just a single unit. And being a single unit, if I went that route, I went with the Helix 15. And the experience I had last year with the Solix 15 is, last year I would run most of the time 360 on the right side at about 60% of the screen, and then my map at about 30 or 40% of the screen on the left. And I really didn't feel bogged down by that. I could still see everything I needed to on the 360. I could, make out what I was looking at, see the distance for it. I could still see on my, on the left, I usually ran my map, especially when fishing kind of offshore. I could see where on a point or break I was. And I didn't feel bogged down by that at all. So now this year, obviously, if once the new technology comes out, that may change my mind, and next year be looking to run dual units up front. But one of the cool things now in the Helix 15 is they added, instead of having 3 programmable screen favorites, it's up to 6. So that's really helpful because, you want to, when you're on the water, you want to be able to quickly go to those key screens. So if you're, fishing super shallow and you're not needing to look at a map and you just want to have 2D and 360 up, you can set that as a favorite. If you're, fishing offshore and you want to have, 360 in your map or 360 and down imaging, you could set all those favorites. So that way, when you're given the situation you're facing, you can just hit one of those 6 favorite buttons and go to the screen you want. But yeah, so far today, the 15 was pretty cool to look at, and you're just looking down at it and you're like, just kind of get lost in the moment.
Yeah, so that was the thing. Like, Bill and I had a conversation last week. If you missed last week's show with Bill Carson from Johnson Outdoors, who we were talking on straight hummingbird mostly. We talked some Minn Kota stuff, but that dude dropped some serious knowledge on me last week. So if you missed last week's live, I would recommend going back and watching that thing. Like, I went back and watched it myself just to pick up things that I didn't pick up in the deal. But so, like, and that was the reason I asked him, and there was a viewer that asked the same thing. How come most pros choose the Helix over a Solix? And, he just said it like, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. But it seems like more often than not, people are buying the Helix over the Solix. And, like, I think, like he was saying, being able to, like, go back in time on the timeline to mark spots that you went past and things would be pretty helpful. Is that still not an option in the Gen 4 Helix?
I did not play around with that today, but I don't believe so. No, I think once you kind of go by it, that's where it is.
Yeah. So Mark Hickey said he likes the challenge of trying to untangle a mix of crankbaits in the morning. That was what we talking about. So Greg says, rumor has it Hickey caught his first fish on Dale on a crankbait. A couple weeks ago, we had Mark Hickey on. We were talking about baits that you absolutely love and hate, and this dude doesn't throw crankbaits. Like, I think he's an alien. Yeah, Jeff Hollis, we got a Garmin Live Scope. Hope I can figure it out. Plus a power pole. I think you have to have it for Gunnersville. It just depends on where you're fishing, man, to be honest with you, and what time of year. But there's so much good that's come from the Live Scope and stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm really interested to see what the Mega Live looks like, and I feel like that it's almost like they're keeping it so hush hush that it's crazy. I talked to Bill the other day, and like they just put the transducer on their website like 2 days before I had him on the show, and like there's 0 videos out there. You think they'd be having their pros blow it up, but it's like the Tesla launch.
Yep, it's I think, and the initial kind of release, or the word out on it didn't even come direct from Humminbird. We came from a retail partner that got the information out there, and I don't know, if that was planned or whatnot, but it got out there, and and as soon as that got out there, just word spread, and yeah, it's going to be pretty. I haven't heard too much on it, but I know it's they're putting a lot of time into it, and they're waiting to put it out there until the time's right. So, which is good because you don't want to obviously rush any product launch, but especially when it comes to technology or like that, because if you put out something that isn't gonna perform, you're really kind of doing yourself a disfavor. So yeah, I'm looking forward to running one here and playing with it, because you just watch any of the the Bass Elite or Red Crest, seeing those guys fishing offshore, looking at brush, looking at offshore fish. Even in a day, if in a tournament that gives helps you catch 1 or 2 more fish, and if those 1 or 2 more fish are your kickers for the day, it pays for itself right then and there. So yeah, it's just another tool to help anglers make the most out of their time on the water.
Yeah, for sure. And I think you're right though. And when it comes to technology like that, especially as an expensive, like I think the transducer is like $1,250, I think.
Nice.
But they that's what the website said, I'm pretty sure. But I think you get one shot at it. Like if you release a subpar product, then you're going to put a lot of bad taste in a lot of anglers, like I said, because you're talking, even for a smaller graph and that thing, you're looking at $4,000, $4,500 for a setup. But I think that you're absolutely at a disadvantage if you don't try to keep up with the technology of today, because especially when you're fishing high-end tournaments, whether that be even weekend series stuff, man, like people that have this stuff, you're definitely at a disadvantage. Like I feel like I could put my knowledge and my skills up against any angler on the planet. Like I feel like on any given day that I have a chance to beat KVD. Am I saying that I could do that 100 times out of 100? No, it's probably one out of like 10,000. But I have a feeling I could probably beat him eventually. But his knowledge is just so vast. But like technology does play a major role in tournament fishing anymore.
Oh yeah, I mean, without a doubt. I mean, a handful of the guys that won, especially last fall when a lot of those events were, grinder events where guys had to be looking at their graphs, looking for those fish that were active and then casting to them. I mean, yeah, that's the guys that put in the time last year or the last 2 years and have figured out how to use the technology available. The guys that have put the time in. I was just reading the article today, kind of recapping Gussie's win down on the Tennessee River. He was saying that with the side imaging and down imaging, he could actually, and 360 between all three of those pieces of technology, he could see the smallmouth laying on the bottom and see on the side imaging as he was reeling up some of those smallmouth, he could see other fish following up that one he had hooked on the side imaging. So yeah, I mean, the guys that have put, the time in and really honed their electronics knowledge and being able, and I mean, anyone, if you're in your garage and you're watching a YouTube video and you're playing with it there, that's great. And then you get comfortable with it. But really what it takes is, a lot of time on the water, looking at those units, idling around, fishing with them, playing with settings. Because that's how those guys learn, is you just have to hit those keys a bunch of times and pay attention to all the little nuances with them, because in the end that's gonna help you find either more structure to catch fish or find fish in those situations.
Yeah, I get that. Hey, Stephen Chase, what's up, buddy? Glad to see you. David Howard said I'd be lost without a crankbait. Me too, man. Like there's no way that I go fishing without a crankbait. No way. Nate Witt says he's planning on getting the Mega Live. I don't blame you, man. He's got a Solix 15.
Okay.
For sure. Let's see. Here's a question for you, Fred Redfern. Glenn, which mapping software is the most accurate for fishing in the upper Mississippi River?
So on the Humminbird units, you only can run the Lake Master chips. So that's what I've ran. But I feel that the Lake Master chips are extremely accurate. They show 99% of the wing dams and closing dams, which on the Mississippi River, is obviously probably the most important navigational hazard to be aware of. Which chip, I guess I would say, predominantly, I'll use the Minnesota card from, today that I had that on pool 2, and then I'll use that all the way down to pool 8. Once I get down to like pool 9 and 10, I'll run the Minnesota or the Wisconsin card, and then I think once you get down past pool 10, 11, you need to switch over to the Iowa or Illinois card, whatever. I forgot what that one's called, but yeah, I really like the Lake Master, and with that on the Humminbird units, what's cool is you can use the sonar overlays, so you can actually overlay overhead satellite images on there. So you can be looking around for those backwater lakes that have some deeper water in the summer, or if it in the spring, if it's a high water year, you can be looking on those chips and seeing where flood water may be coming in, because you may look at a map and think it's a dead end slough and like the water should be clear in there. It's not, it's backing up in there. It's not flowing through. It'll be clean. But then all of a sudden you get there and you realize that there's a creek coming in on the top end because the water's high. Well, if you're looking at your satellite imagery on the Humminbird Lake Master Plus cards, you'd be able to see that. So, so that too, I would highly recommend anyone check out the Lake Master Plus cards, because you do have that ability to have that sort of satellite overlay on your units then.
Yeah, and then another thing we talked about, again, like I said last week on last week's show with talking about Humminbird and stuff, the zero line cards that allow for auto chart live on the Humminbird graphs is an indispensable tool for me, especially. That's something I'm definitely interested in getting into more, because there's a lot of lakes around my area that are on the Lake Master cards. Matter of fact, I think it's like Kentucky, Tennessee, West Virginia, maybe not West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, Georgia, Florida. Those are the southeastern. I think it's southeastern card. which is really cool. But let's just say that you want to go out and you want to fish a local, pond, lake around your house. It's not so well mapped because there's no data available on the Lake Master. You can go out with one of the zero line cards, and you could do it to a certain extent with just a head unit. You don't actually have to have the card, but the card will allow you. I think Bill said it was like 32 years of data that it would hold, which is crazy. But you can go out and map your own lake and build your own contour maps, which could put you in a really big advantage over people that are not doing that.
No, exactly. And to kind of build on your point, it doesn't just have, yes, like the small lakes are definitely, that's where it's very key and needed. But even on the bigger bodies of water, like on the Mississippi River, there's a lot of, you're welcome, Fred. There's a lot of, backwater sloughs, backwater lakes that aren't mapped. So if you look at it on a standard, Lake Master card, you'll be running a side channel and it'll show the contour and you'll see it's okay. It's, it's 5 foot, 5 foot, 5 foot. And then all of a sudden it kind of bottlenecks down, or you take a dog leg right and it goes into a backwater lake. And that backwater lake just shows it's a flat, of 2 to 3 foot deep or 4 foot deep, whatever. It may be, but a lot of times on the river systems, there's, breaks in those backwater lakes where there's a little bit deeper water. So, I mean, that whole backwater lake maybe is, depending on the water level, is only 2 to 3 foot deep, but maybe there's an old creek running through there, or maybe there's the current when the water's high blows through there and kind of bore out a hole kind of running through there. So yeah, if you find a key backwater area where there's fish or you're going to be fishing there, it definitely doesn't hurt to be idling around with the auto chart and kind of populate on a map, because you'll never know what you may be able to kind of unlock and find in there.
Yes, that reminds me of a story that I was fishing a BFL as a co-angler about 4 years ago. We were fishing down in Maysville on the Ohio River. And, of course, there's very few times. I've been fishing as a co-angler for about 6 years in BFLs and other tournament series that are roughly the same size. And I've never fished with anybody that I've known previously. It's always people that I meet. And about 95% of those people I would go fishing with now. And there's 5% of those people that I could care less if I ever stepped on a boat with them. Just the way it goes. That's human beings as a total population. But I was fishing with this one guy. He was hilarious. We had a great time, dude. We jetted off into one of these little canals off the Ohio River and jumped a beaver dam in his boat to get back to this backwater lake. We absolutely wore him out back there. Like, I still to this day don't know if it was legal what we did, but we went back there. Like, we had 2 limits within like 20 minutes of being in there. It's like we went into somebody's farm pond. But so, and that's the thing about that. And the cool thing about when we were talking about there with Lake Master is that there's a lot of safety features that come along with that too, because you can set like collar depths and things, like if you want to do 5 foot or less and make that all red. You can do that with Lake Master, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Usually I'll set mine at about 2 foot. Just because on the river, on the Mississippi, if you would set your shallow water highlight at 5 foot, there, 75% of the area you're driving is going to be red, and that'll just freak you out. So I'll set mine at like 2 foot, so that way I know if I'm running somewhere and it gets to that red, I'll kind of either shut her down, or if I have a previous track running through that area, I'll just be sure to be on my track a little bit tighter, so I know not going to have any damage. But yeah, that's a very helpful tool. Or a depth highlight. So like on lakes, if you know that you are fishing, if you're catching fish at like on a 12, the weed lines in 12 foot, you can highlight on your Lake Master chip on your Humminbird units that 12 foot, then plus or minus X number of feet. So if that weed line's 12 foot, let's say, that weed line obviously is going to curve around and whatnot. So set your plus or minus to 2 foot. So then that anything highlighted on your Lake Master chip is 10 to 14 foot, and that's your target depth range. So then you're able to without even really looking hard at your depth at your Humminbird unit, you can stay in that shaded zone and kind of keep your boat in in that key fishing area with a little bit easier.
Another thing that you can do if you have an Ultrex, or I guess an Altera as well, is that correct me if I'm wrong here because I don't own that, but I think you can set up the iPilot link to do like if you want to stay on a contour line that you're fishing in 12 foot of water, you can like lock it onto that contour line, correct?
Yep. If you have iPilot Link, yeah, it'll communicate with your Humminbird units, and yeah, you can follow contour. You can create a path. So if you have create a path of a drift, that you want to kind of stay on that drift line, you can have it follow that drift line. You can go to. So if all of a sudden you're rigging up, you get to a spot and you don't want to come in hot to it. It's like, let's say it's not a tournament situation and you have a waypoint 20 feet away, but you don't want to come in hot to it. And so you're going to set down, off of it, turn off the motor, get settled. And maybe it's early, first spot of the morning and you're pulling out your rods or whatever. You can just program, on your Ultrex with the link is you can hit go to and it'll go to that waypoint. So there's a lot of cool things with the one boat network between Minn Kota, Humminbird, and Talon and Raptor that allows you to, really make the most of your time on the water and be really efficient.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I'm digging with the whole Humminbird and the whole, again, like you said, the one boat network is the fact that literally from your console, if you're running a 12, 15, whatever you're running, maybe it's a 13-inch Apex, whatever you have there, you can first off see motor details, which is really cool. Something that, if your motor allows it, shows RPMs, how many hours you have on, or if you have any, trouble issues or anything like that, which is really cool. But I like the idea that you can, like you said, you can pretty much, if the trolling motor's in the water and you have everything linked, you can control the Talons and the Raptors as well as your trolling motor directly from your head unit there on your console, which is really, really cool.
Yep. Yeah. So right now with my Raptors, I can deploy my Raptors either via my iPilot Link remote that comes with my Ultrex. I can deploy and retract them via any three of my Humminbird Helix units. I can do it with the stomp switch, like your foot pedal, or the remotes, that come with the Raptors. So and actually another way, the app. So that's another cool thing with all the products is they have apps. So you can download the Humminbird app, you can download the Raptor app, the Minn Kota, the iPilot Link app. So that what that allows you to do is get updates for all those products a lot easier. So no longer do you have to be downloading an update for your Humminbird graphs off your computer. You create an account, download the app, you get the software update 3.2 for whatever it may be for your Helix unit. You just pair it with your phone, pair your phone to your unit, and updates via Bluetooth. So it's just really they're making things just so much easier to get done. It used to be when you have to download waypoints off of a PC and upload them to your units or updates. That's just a lot of time. So now if you can do everything via your phone and just be right in your boat, just speeds it up and lets you fish more and not have to worry about all the other stuff.
Yeah, and like I said, one of the other cool things that I like about that is the Fish Smart app that comes from all that stuff. So again, if you buy, like we were talking about Lake Master chip, and you buy it for the southeastern or I think southeastern states, what I was talking about there, and let's just say that you're going to fish Lake St. Clair, and you may go there maybe twice a year, and you don't want to spend the $150 or whatever it is for the chip. You could spend, I think the most expensive lake that I've seen is like $39.
Yeah,
and you can buy all that information. It syncs to your phone, and then once you're in your boat, you can Bluetooth to your graph and download that information, which is pretty daggone handy.
Yeah, that's exactly. And I think for where that really comes into benefit is, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and his kids are on the high school fishing stuff. Well, they're not full-time pros. They're high school fishing. And when they qualified to go to regionals or nationals, I think it was down on Pickwick, or it's this coming summer. It's on Pickwick, and so it's instead of buying, the chip for down there, $130. Yeah, you're just able to download that single map via the Fish Smart app, upload it, get it right on your units. So, for the people that are traveling around and hitting a bunch of lakes, of course, having the Lake Master card is obviously the most economical choice and easy choice, because just put the card in your unit and away you go. But if it's just 1-2 lakes in a year, or not even a year, just I'm going to this lake this year for a vacation, and a couple years later, yeah, the Fish Smart app is the way to do it.
Yeah, let's see. We got a couple questions here. Let's see. Thomas Crothers says, "Hit up Pickwick Lake in Tennessee. You won't be sorry. Fish as big as your boat." If you're talking bass as big as my boat, dude, I am in. But I think I'll be in Pickwick at some point this year. That is Timmy Horton's haunt down there, and he absolutely smashes them down there in the summertime. River style fishing, which I dig. Stephen Chase said, "You're going to the Classic in June, man. I'd love to. It all depends on the fundage and what I got going on. Obviously, I'm off in the summertime, so it allows me the ability to travel. Christian Corley from Yola Tech has given me the opportunity to stay with him 100% of the time if I need a place to stay. The guys from Angler, they're more than happy to house me. So the plan is probably, but I'm kind of playing it day by day. I don't want to plan a trip out there and then something happens. So it'll be like one of those days where I'll book an airplane ticket a couple days in advance, I would say. Ricky Barnett, this is a great question. If a lake is at winter pool or just lower than summer pool, can you set the map to say 5 feet and we'll let you know what dry land is?
Yep. So you with the Humminbird units and the Lake Master cards, you can set an offset. So for a lot of the reservoirs or Tennessee River system lakes where if they have a gauge and it's the normal pool is, I'm just gonna throw a number. The same normal pool on that gauge is 200 feet, and right now and it tells you if it's 5 feet below. Yes, you can go on the unit. You can hit water level offset. And scroll down 5 feet. So anything that when that lake was mapped, if it was 10 feet, now you're telling it it's 5 feet less. It'll actually show 5 feet. Likewise, in the spring when water gets up, it's above pool, so you can scroll it up and get it 2, 3, 4 feet above that standard pool mark. So yes, that's extremely helpful if you know how much above or below that normal pool level is or water level is, because then you have more accurate data on your units.
Yeah, that's a great deal of information there for me. Well, Aaron Strickland in the house, Strix Marine. What's up, guys? Garmin, everything. Anyway, Glenn does a really cool thing every year for St. Jude's, and he does a really cool jersey auction. And I think it's a great thing that you guys need to know about. And I'm going to give him the opportunity to, throw down some knowledge about that. It's a great thing. I don't know as much about it as he will, so let him talk about it. But it's going to be something that you could potentially go out and, donate some money that will help some people and make a big difference.
Sure. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. So yeah, what we have is the first tournament that kicks off our season up here in the Midwest it's called the Dick Hiley St. Jude Bass Classic. It's the first weekend in May on pool 4 and 5 of the Mississippi out of Wabasha, Minnesota. And what is really unique about the event is any team that fishes the event has to fundraise at least $500 for the St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. If you fundraise $1,500, you get entered into the next payout level of incentives, and if you fundraise $5,000, you get high, and you're eligible for the highest level of payouts. But what is most important is that you're raising funds for the kids of St. Jude. So just to kind of in a nutshell, what that means is St. Jude Children's Hospital down in Memphis, Tennessee. What their mission is twofold. First, they do research in curing and also treating childhood cancers. But then also, if a kid has cancer and is in the hospital getting treatment, that family does not receive a bill. So if someone's kid is dealing with something that is unfathomable and that family's in their darkest days, they don't have to worry about the bill. They don't have to worry about paying for a hotel while they're getting treatment. They don't have to worry about the food. They don't have to worry about all they have to worry about is taking care of their son or daughter at that time, because that's the most important thing. So the tournament's been going on for 20. It's gonna be a little goofy now because we lost 1 year because of high water. I think it's year 22 this year, but I think since the event has started, I think we've fundraised, I think it's over now like $5 or $6 million for the kids of St. Jude. Our record year, I think, for fundraising was 2 years ago. We were just shy of like $750,000. So yeah, and what's really cool is, I mean, everyone knows for fundraising events that, fundraisers, golf events or dinner galas, these, more traditional fundraising events. So for a fishing tournament to go out there and raise those kind of dollars for such a great cause is really kind of cool, is really cool. And so about 6 or 7, I've been fishing the event for 9 years, I believe now. And about 7 years ago, just through work and through buddies, I've been fortunate enough to get to know, I was getting to know quite a few pro fishermen. So I'm like, okay, well, these guys are, you know, you know, um, these guys are, heroes and idols to a lot of people out there. So why don't, I start auctioning off some of their signed jerseys. So I, started working with some of my, the guys I knew, Gerald Swindle, Andy Morgan, Brent Ayler. Those were some of the guys from the get-go that I worked with, and can't thank them enough. And so you'd get they send me their signed jersey, and then I auction it off on eBay, and all the proceeds go to St. Jude. So it helps fundraise. I'm not making any money off of it. All the money goes to St. Jude. And it's really cool. So actually, the record jersey was just auctioned off. It closed here yesterday. Was Gussie's jersey, and I think it set the record here for, I think it was $1,297. The previous two high was Seth Fighter and Carl Jacobson about a year and 2 years ago, and those were about 1,100 or so. So yeah, Gussie's jersey, timed that right, getting that out there right after his win here the 2 weeks ago on the Tennessee River. And so yeah, that's there was Gussie's jersey. And yep. So but yeah, so I've been running. So this year, I've the increase of support from the pros, it's awesome. They're just super helpful. They're glad to help out, and a lot of these guys just have jerseys sitting around. So it's either these jerseys are either going to be stay in their closet or eventually get thrown out. So for them to sign it and get it to me, and I'm able to raise some funds for St. Jude, and put and then they're collectibles too. I mean, and it's cool. There's been a couple guys that have won multiple jerseys now, and they actually message me and find out who are trying to find out who's coming down the pipeline so they can plan, or they're like, hey, I really would like you to find this guy. And so so it's really cool that all the pros are just super supportive of it and helpful. They'll post it on their social media to get it out in front of their fans. And so no, it's so if anyone's so we still have probably I would say probably about dozen and a half jerseys left here that'll be auctioned off between now and probably about the middle of April. So you can just follow me along on my Facebook page, Glenn Walker Fishing, or on Instagram at Glenn Walker Fishing, and I will always be posting the jerseys that are auctioned off, and the ones that are running. So you can follow along, and then if you're interested, place a bid, and we greatly appreciate it. And just all the funds go to a great cause.
So what's a search term that they should search for on eBay to find these?
The pros name, or you might be able to search St. Jude fundraising campaign, but really probably the easiest way to see what jerseys are live is to check out my Facebook or Instagram page.
Okay. Yeah. So guys, first off, we got a couple comments here that are really cool. Donnie Evans is a father of 8-year-old cancer survivor. He was 2.5 when diagnosed. Want to say thanks, man. That's awesome. St. Jude is an amazing organization.
You're very welcome. And hope you're, or it's it sounds like your son or daughter didn't say there, but yeah, hopefully your son or daughter is doing well, and glad to hear.
Yeah, Strix, so that's good stuff. Thanks for helping those kids, which I agree, man. Like I said, we talked about this and adding it to the show and all that stuff, and I think it's something that that needs to be said there more often than not, because you have this, that's something that you're giving back to the community. And I know, I know 100% of the pros that you deal with are more than happy to do that. There's no way that they can't be, which is really cool. I love to see people that are in the having the ability to get that stuff out there and being able to make, makes these kids, lives, to be honest with you, man. Because like you're talking about being able to, as a parent, I couldn't imagine having to so much stress and worry that you would have to go through, and then bills would be the farthest thing from my mind, which is really good that with St. Jude, that's one less worry off these people's plate, which is really cool.
Yep. No, thank you. Yeah, it's and every year at the banquet, last year with COVID, we didn't get to have a banquet, so that was unfortunate. But TBD what the event will have this year for a banquet. But they always bring in a patient family, so that's really, that pulls on the heartstrings when you have a parent and parent or parents come in with their son or daughter that is fought through those horrible times, and we have had some patient families that come in that have had lost son or daughter to cancer, and so when when you're after, it really puts things in perspective, because it's a bad day on the water, and then you hear those stories and you're just like, you realize that the real reason you're doing the event is to raise funds, and it really just puts a lot of things in perspective. So yeah, it's a great event.
Yeah, so like I said, man, anything I can help you do with that, definitely let me know, because I think it's a good, it does. There's no more pure deal than that, in my opinion. So I want to commend you on that. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
What you're doing, and it's a big deal.
Thank you.
So Glenn and I have come up with this kind of a challenge. Actually, I threw the challenge down on him. Is we're gonna do so Glenn has a YouTube channel as well. Which, by the way, dude, how did you score that freaking name? Like, it was just like one of those random deals, bass fishing vids or videos. What was it?
That was really lucky back. Oh man, it's been probably 10 years, and yeah, I mean, and I haven't. I'm gonna start doing some more stuff on YouTube here, because yeah, I got the name, and that was really even before YouTube was. I mean, YouTube has always been popular. I mean, that's without a doubt. But that was kind of back when YouTube was, I don't know, just YouTube and not what it is today. And yeah, so no, I look back now, I'm like, man, I got a great name. So so definitely need to be doing more with it.
Yeah, for sure. So like, it's not, if you don't get a following or you don't get exposure, it's not because you don't have like the best YouTube channel name on the planet. So another comment here from Donnie Evans. He was just considered in remission on February 22nd after 5 long years of scans waiting for that news. Anytime we can raise awareness of pediatric cancer is progress. Thanks again.
That's awesome, Donnie. Great to hear.
So the challenge is that we're going to create a video series, not really a series, just a video of him and a video of me, and we're going to throw down a challenge that we're going to bet some lure lock products that we haven't decided how we're going to do it yet. Biggest fish of the trip, smallest fish of the trip, most fish of the trip, whatever we decide. And we're going to create a video collaboration, if you will, via YouTube channels, where he'll film his adventure from his perspective. I'll film my adventure from my perspective, and then we'll link each other's video in the description. So you can actually watch, 2 different anglers from 2 different perspectives, 2 different parts of the country, fishing 2 totally different ways, probably catching probably 2 different style fish, because it's hard to say where I'm going to be fishing, but I think it's going to be a big deal, man. Like,
I'm looking forward to it.
I think it's going to be fun. So that's going to be some of them. And I have a lot of cool things that I want to do. Like, I want to show like tackle prep and talk about that stuff. And I get a lot of comments all the time about me being a teacher, and they're always like, man, like, fishing videos are cool. But like, if I was watching YouTube for fishing videos solely, I wouldn't do it. Like, I'm watching you to learn some things. So that's one thing that I'm looking at this year, is trying to incorporate my teaching. I do it for a living. I'm a high school teacher, but being able to teach things. But the thing about it is, though, it's weird for me to teach things like that, because I consider myself, learning every day too. You know what I mean? So like, and negative Nancy's out there on the world that are like, they just live to like say screw you on YouTube. It just like, it used to get to me. I'm not gonna lie to you. It got to the point where I was like, man, who is this guy? And why is it, man? Like, just scroll on. Like, who cares? Like, nobody cares. But now it's like, it's weird, because I guess my mentality has changed. Like, I'll heckle them back.
Yeah.
Like, my favorite response is when they say something stupid is like, I bet you're fun at parties. and then they just never go any further.
Yeah, no, yeah, you gotta have thick skin because life's too short to worry about people that are out there just, just running their mouth and willing to bring you down. So you just
Yeah,
gotta have fun with life.
yeah, for sure. And that's the thing about it. And the thing about YouTube is the metrics and thing that they have, the higher your video goes up, it's based on views and comments.
Hmm.
So these people are like going through like, I hate this video, and then they'll actually like comment that on there, like, thanks, you still got the view and you still push my video higher in SEO. But it's good stuff. But so, like I said, the challenge, I'm pretty excited about it. But like,
Yeah, as am I.
I think it's going to be a good deal because, like I said, we're going to be looking at two different bodies of water. I mean, you're probably going to be throwing a frog out there in Tonka or something in June. And
I could if it's talk, it'll probably be some flipping. Or I think if I'm doing this, I think I may want to do it on the river. We can kind of take a little bit of the kind of back slew. You get to kind of run a bunch of stuff, and people will be pretty cool to see what they could see because you never know what you're going to catch in the backwaters, and the scenery is great. So, but we'll see. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be fun.
if I want to lose, I'll fish the Ohio River. So it's really funny because I don't know if you've ever seen the thing where KVD, they're asking like, where's your favorite place to fish? And he's like, absolutely St. Clair. He's like, you can go there and catch fish any time of the year. He said you may have trouble finding them, but once you find them, you're going to catch some. And the guys in the same breath says, where's your least favorite place to fish? He's like, the Ohio River. So it's one of those deals. So yeah, so guys, we're about 50 minutes in. You guys know I like to keep these things for an hour. But if you guys have any more questions for Glenn, throw them out there. This dude's a knowledge base of all things. I got one question for you, dude. I've been creeping the Providence marketing group that you work for there.
Yep.
You guys at one point used to you had a client, Siberian coolers. How do they stack up to Yeti?
Yeah, so I mean, that was a client a couple years ago, and I think they're still around. I guess I have not looked. But I mean, it was a good product. I mean, I think, with any of those high end coolers, it's a real, a lot of them are very similar product. So yeah, I guess it's been a while since I've taken a look, but they were a good product.
I got you. Like I said, I've used Yetis for a while, and I love it. You know what I mean? Like going to the cooler and knowing that I got ice and stuff is cool, but like I still don't get the price of the things, man. Like I feel like I'm buying a kayak. Like, the Roto Moto, just like a kayak, but it's like you buy a 65 quart Yeti, you're looking at $400. Like,
yeah, I and having taken a look at some of other brands, each brand has their own, kind of way they spin their, their name or their technology. But, I think, when it comes down to it, it's hard to beat kind of the, a Yeti. They're dependable. The construction's great. They keep stuff cold. So, I have a couple Yetis, and, and that's one thing that, I between fishing and traveling, and then also do, another thing I enjoy doing is smoking a lot of meat on my pellet grill and keeping meat, in that thing. It's just so nice. It's always, cold. Don't have to worry about anything spoiling. So, always got to have a Yeti with some ice.
that's awesome. Well, Glenn, looks like everybody is questioned out, but I want to thank you first off for being a part of the show,
yes, thank you.
and everything you do for the show as far as On Another Line. I look forward to the summertime SmackDown that we have here going on. Like I said, I think it's going to be a cool deal where, I'm really intrigued with the human side of it, because we're going to see fishing from your perspective in a different part of the country.
Definitely.
You're going to see fishing from my part of my perspective from a different part of the country. And, in the end of all of it, we're going to end up with some lure lock. Somebody's going to end up with some lure lock. Might as well be me. It's a cool deal. But, Glenn, I appreciate it. And I've had a good time talking to you.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry to interrupt you there. I think if I'm planning on getting out that way up in Minnesota and stuff and doing some fishing with you. Another one of the show affiliates, JB's Fish Sauce, so I think I told you about before. They're out there too. Actually, well, they were. I don't know where Corey lives now. They sold the product to Corey Weaver. But Jim Block was the guy who initially owned it, and he lived out there and fished Minnetonka every day. So, we had that conversation back in the day. But if not this summer, definitely plan the next summer. I would love to get out there and do some fishing with you, even if we meet down on the river somewhere and do some fishing and we'll get together.
Yeah, no, that'd be fun. And no, thank you for having me. And again, if anyone wants to follow along on the jersey auctions or any information that I post for videos or content, follow me along on Facebook and Instagram at Glenn Glenn Walker Fishing. And appreciate it and hope everyone has a great spring on the water.
Yep, Glenn, you as well, buddy. We'll see you soon. I'm going to announce some winners from a giveaway that I have last week, and also keep sticking around for a few other things coming. We're doing a giveaway on Jacob Crappy's page here coming up soon. But without further ado, you guys saw that the past 2 weeks I've been doing a giveaway, give it away now, throwing it back to the 90s. But anyway, I gave away a Shimano hat, which is right here. This Shimano hat right here. I have 3 packs of 2 of the small JB's fish sauce and 2 packs of 10 Ned heads. Those winners will be announced later on tonight. No, I'm just kidding. They're going to be announced right now. The winner of the Shimano hat, Evan Gannon. Evan Gannon, this is going to be shipped out to Montana. I'll be getting a hold of you here in just a little bit. The 3 winners for the 2-pack of JB's fish sauce is Brendan Buckner, Eric McLaughlin, and then Donnie Evans. You guys have won 2 bottles of this. I'll be getting with you here in a few minutes to get some info. Actually, I'm going to send some stuff out tomorrow. That way you guys can give me some information. So if you're local, I can get this stuff to you. If not, I'll have to ship it. Let's see here. Let me go back to the winners here to make sure I get everybody's name correctly. And then the last 2 is going to be 2 10-packs of my hand-poured Ned rigs that I will either bring to you or ship to you. Those 2 winners are Shannon Maple and Christopher Morrow. Chris, I told you I had something for you at the end of the show if you're out there watching. Those winners, again, in order, no particular order, but what they won. Evan Gannon with the Shimano hat. 3 winners of 2 bottles of JB's fish sauce, so small bottles like this right here. Again, that is Brandon Buckner, Eric McLaughlin, Donnie Evans, and then I have 2 packs of 10 Ned heads that I poured that I'm going to be giving to. One of them is going to go to Shannon Maple. The other one is going to Chris Morrow. Congratulations, everybody. That was a 2-week deal, 153 entries. Thank you guys very much for doing that. Really, really cool. Again, keep an eye out for Jacob Crappy's page. We'll be doing another giveaway with both of our pages where we're going to be giving a lot more stuff away. Looking like we're going to have some EcoPro tungsten. We're going to have a lure lock box that I'm going to be giving away for that. He has another one of these Shimano hats they're going to be giving away. As far as the other stuff, he's still looking at what he can give away. He's working with Cal Coast. He's working with a lot of different companies to try to make this giveaway super huge. Hey, Larry Sack, what's up, buddy? Adam Barber, hey, buddy, how you doing? Thank you very much for watching. Here's the deal, guys. Right now we're at 1 hour. You guys know that. I appreciate you guys sticking around for this time. We had Glenn Walker on tonight talking about a lot about Humminbird, talking about spring baits. We talked about him doing a giveaway of some fishing jerseys, not a giveaway, sorry, a raffle of fishing jerseys. You definitely need to go check that out. Follow him on Facebook at facebook.com/Glenn Walker Fishing. That's GLENNWALKER Fishing. And he does post the stuff on there that you can see what is available on eBay. And again, it goes to a great cause, St. Jude's Children's Hospital, which is an absolute amazing deal. So again, guys, without further ado, there are 6 winners of the giveaway. Evan Gannon for the hat, Brandon Buckner, Eric McLaughlin, Donnie Evans for the JB's fish sauce, Shannon Maple, and Chris Morrow for the Ned rigs. I'll be sending you guys an email tomorrow, or not an email, I'll be direct messaging you to make sure that you guys get that. I will be shipping this stuff out on my dime if you won and are not local. So congratulations, guys. Oh, Donnie's on. What's up, buddy? I thought you were on here. Yeah. Appreciate it, buddy. No problem. We'll thank you for taking part into the giveaway. I have a very lofty goal this year, guys, for YouTube, and that is 4,000 subscribers. I'm going to be doing a giveaway a lot. I think I am going to go absolutely nuts, bonkers, out of my mind, crazy, and give away a G Loomis NRX to drive myself to 4,000 subscribers. I'm still working on that. That's a $575 rod that I'm going to be giving away more often than not, trying to drive to 4,000 subscribers, which is going to be that's my main goal this year, is to hit 4,000 subscribers. Right now, I'm doing roughly average, which is one of those things that average is okay. Average doesn't win any awards, and average definitely doesn't make you any money on YouTube. And I love making YouTube content and stuff, but it's all about creating some stuff that people want to see, which again will in turn turning into some monetary gain that I can build better videos for you guys, have really higher end guests and things on here. But right now I'm looking at let's see, I don't know, man. I'm up a little bit actually. Last 28 days, which is last month, I've had 65 subscribers, and in order to hit the 4,000 mark, I have to have about 110 subscribers a month. So I'm about halfway there, a little over halfway. I got to drive my stuff, trying to get up there. If you guys know any fishing freaks out there that want to, that may want to be subscribed to my YouTube channel, definitely share the love. Guys, I appreciate it. We are at that 1 hour mark, the magic 1 hour mark for the live video. Stay tuned tomorrow on my YouTube channel. I have a video coming out talking about the Poison Adrena 1611 Medium Plus, which is the absolute rod that I get the most questions about for anything on my channel, is the Shimano Poison Adrena 1611, or the 6'11" casting Medium Plus rod. Absolutely one of the most versatile rods on the planet. There's a video coming out with my 1 year take on the rod, giving you my personal experience. Guys, if you can, get out there and lean on them. We'll see you next time on Another Line.